Cannabis is a plant that has been known to people for a very long time. You might have heard it called other names, like marijuana or weed. This plant has green leaves that look like a fan with many fingers. For thousands of years, people in different parts of the world have grown cannabis for many reasons. They used its strong fibers to make rope and clothes. They also used its seeds for food. The plant was important in many old cultures, not just for practical things, but also for ceremonies and as a traditional medicine. It has a very long and interesting history with humans. The cannabis plant has special chemicals in it called cannabinoids. The two most famous ones are THC and CBD. THC is the part of the plant that can make a person feel different, often described as feeling high. It can change how you see, feel, and think for a short time. CBD is different because it does not make you feel high. People are very interested in CBD for its potential health benefits. Scientists are studying both of these parts of the plant to understand them better. These chemicals are what make the cannabis plant so unique and talked about. Historically, the plant was used openly in many societies. In ancient China, it was listed in books about medicine. In other places, it was part of spiritual or religious practices. But over the last century, many countries made laws against using it. This made it illegal to grow, sell, or have cannabis. The reasons for these laws were complex and changed how people saw the plant. For a long time, this meant that scientific research on its effects was also very limited. People's views on cannabis became very divided, with strong opinions on both sides of the issue. Now, things are starting to change again. More people are talking about cannabis and learning about its past. The old uses of the plant for making things like paper and textiles are being looked at again. And the historical use of cannabis as a medicine is a big reason why laws are being reconsidered today. Understanding its long history helps us understand the conversations that are happening now all over the world. It is a plant with a deep connection to human history, and that story is still being written as we learn more about it. Today people use cannabis for two main reasons, for medicine and for fun. When it is used for medicine, it is called medical cannabis. Doctors might suggest it to patients who have certain health problems. For example, it can help people who feel sick from cancer treatments to feel hungry. It can also help reduce pain for people who have long-lasting pain that other medicines do not help. In places like Florida in the United States, many people are registered to use medical cannabis to help with their health conditions. They get it from special stores called dispensaries. The other main use is for fun, which is called recreational use. This is when adults choose to use cannabis to relax or to socialize with friends, similar to how some people have a glass of wine. In countries like Canada, and in some states in the United States like Colorado and California, it is legal for adults to buy and use cannabis this way. They can go to a licensed store and choose from different products. The goal of recreational use is not to treat a sickness, but for personal enjoyment. This has become a big part of the cannabis conversation in recent years. There are many different ways that people can use cannabis. The most traditional way is by smoking the dried flowers of the plant. These flowers are often called buds. Another very popular way is by eating it in food products, which are called edibles. Edibles can be things like gummy candies, brownies, or drinks. It is important to know that edibles can take a long time to start working, sometimes an hour or more. People also use oils and creams that have cannabis in them. These different forms allow people to choose the method that works best for them. The experience of using cannabis can be very different from person to person. How it affects someone depends on the type of cannabis, how much they use, and the person's own body. For some, it brings relaxation and happiness. For others, it might cause confusion or anxiety. This is why it is very important for people to be careful, especially when they are trying it for the first time. Starting with a very small amount is always a good idea. As more places make cannabis legal, it is becoming more important to teach people how to use it safely and responsibly. The laws about cannabis are changing quickly in many places around the world. A very big change is happening in the United States. For a long time, the United States federal government said cannabis was a very dangerous drug with no medical use. But now, they are in the process of changing this. They are moving it to a lower risk category, which shows they now believe it has medical uses. This is a huge step. However, The federal law still says it is illegal for fun. This creates a confusing situation because many individual states have made it legal. This difference between state and federal laws in the United States is important. While you can legally buy cannabis in a state like Nevada, you are still breaking a federal law. This makes things complicated for businesses. They have trouble with banking and other services because banks follow federal laws. But as more states legalize it, the pressure on the federal government to change its rules grows stronger. Just recently, a vote to make recreational cannabis legal in Florida almost passed, showing that public opinion is shifting very fast, and more change is likely coming soon. Because of these changing laws, the cannabis business is growing very, very fast. It is becoming a huge industry. Experts think the global cannabis market could be worth over $68 billion by the year 2025. This is a massive amount of money. Countries like Canada are selling a lot of their medical cannabis to other countries. In the first half of 2024, Canada's exports of medical cannabis flower to places like Europe doubled compared to the year before. This shows that there is a big demand for cannabis products all over the world. This fast growth creates many new jobs and business opportunities. Companies are growing cannabis, making products like edibles and oils, and opening stores to sell them. There are big companies, like Green Thumb Industries and Trulieve in the United States, that run over 100 stores. Other businesses support the industry by making things like special lights for growing the plants or packaging for the products. It is an exciting time for the business of cannabis, but it is also a time with many challenges as rules and markets continue to change. The world of cannabis is very different today than it was just a few years ago. The most important thing to remember is that it is a complex plant with many different uses and effects. It is no longer just a substance that is hidden or illegal. It is now a legal medicine for many people and a legal recreational product for adults in many places. This shift means we all need to be more informed. We need to understand the difference between using it for health reasons and using it for fun, as the rules can be very different. It is also key to know that the laws are still changing. What is legal in one state or country might be illegal in another. Even in the United States, the rules can be confusing because the federal government and state governments do not agree. Because of this, it is always important to know the local laws where you are. As governments continue to discuss and debate cannabis, these rules will likely keep evolving. Staying informed about the current laws is a responsibility for anyone interested in cannabis. Finally, a very important point is to think about safety and health. Just because cannabis is legal in some places does not mean it is right for everyone or that it has no risks. It can affect people in very different ways. It is especially important that it is kept away from children and pets. For adults who choose to use it, the advice is always to start low and go slow. This means using a very small amount at first to see how it affects you. Talking to a doctor is also a great idea, especially if you are thinking about using it for medical reasons. In conclusion, cannabis is a plant with a long history that is now at the center of a big change. It is being used for medicine, for recreation, and is the foundation of a rapidly growing global industry. As science teaches us more and laws continue to adapt, our understanding of cannabis will keep growing. The conversation is moving from whether it should be legal to how to manage it safely and responsibly for everyone. Being educated and careful is the best way to approach this new chapter for the ancient cannabis plant.